Hello, it's Robert Craven here, and I'm speaking today from my book, Beating the Credit Crunch, How to Survive and Thrive in the Current Recession. This is going to be a two-parter. Part one is very much about financials and how good your business is, and the second part we're going to be looking more at marketing and operations and what you do to make it actually happen for you to get your business through this economic difficulty and take it up to the next level. So let me just tell you very quickly a little bit about myself. The name is Robert Craven, and I run a company called the Directors Centre. The Directors Centre, brighter, gutsier consulting. We pride ourselves on being challenging, honest and goading, and typically we work with businesses over £1 million turnover. They're owned by the person who runs the business, and we get in there, work with them, increasing profits, increasing sales, getting more cash into the business. I'm also known as author of Kickstart Your Business, co-authored with Sir Richard Branson, Bright Marketing, and this book, Beating the Credit Crunch. So without further ado, I'd like to thank Steve Pipe from AVN for inviting me to speak with you. And what we're going to do is we're going to rattle through a bunch of slides, rattle through some of the information about beating the credit crunch. And clearly today is almost a taster. And if you want to know more or understand more about the sort of concepts we're talking about, then clearly you should be talking to your accountant, talking to your business consultant about how you can make this stuff actually happen in your business. So what are we talking about today? Well, first thing we're going to be looking at is scoring your business. You know, the big question, how good is your business? The second thing is how do you sort the finance? How do you actually get the finance sorting in your business? And then we'll move on in the second part to sorting marketing operations and next steps. What should you do? So we've got 2 slots of 20 minutes really, and let's get on with the first slot. I guess one of the basic questions that we come across is one around what's holding people back. And we did some research recently called the Magic Million, and that was looking at what was holding people back. And the key and the crux to this research was that when people were trying to grow their business, they blamed lots of other people for why they weren't being more successful: the banks, the customers, the staff, the competition. They blamed everything but themselves. And I think there's a real fundamental here going on, which is what is holding your business back. And I guess to my mind, one of the key things that's holding businesses back is quite simply fear. Fear of letting go, fear of moving on. As someone who runs their own business, you become the bottleneck, you become the center, everything revolves around you. And rather than releasing people around you, you end up working in the business, you don't step back, you don't let other people do stuff, and you actually ironically become the constraint within the business. And I'd just like to sort of move on to get you to think about business failure. I think we need to deal with this one pretty much face on. The business failure issue is really fundamental. A couple of quotes from research, just to confirm what I'm saying. Sue Burley in London said that 2/3 of business failures are caused by managerial deficiencies, which could be avoided. And again, from the Small Business Association in the States, almost 90% of all business failures are caused by poor, ineffective, or incompetent management. And from just last year, George May again said more than 9 out of 10 business failures are caused by some weakness in management. So it's actually up to us as the owners, as the managers of businesses, to actually take control and take ownership, to make the tough decisions in what's actually a very exciting environment, and take massive, massive action to actually get to the next level in our business. So step one, in my mind, is how good is our business at the moment? I mean, how good is our business right now? And a little model that we use is a really simple one, which is finance, your financial performance. So I don't mean your accounts and how thick and weighty they are, but I mean the nub of financial performance, which is one, around turnover and profit, but more importantly, it's around cash, especially in a recessionary period. Remember that most of the people who are going to go bust aren't going to go bust because of lack of profit. It's lack of cash which makes people go bust. But finance is a consequence of how good you are at marketing, how good you are at getting hold of customers, how good you are at getting hold of customers getting to buy from you, and operations, how good you are at what you do. And we've asked about 17,000 people to score themselves a score out of 10 for their financial performance, marketing performance, operations performance. And when I say finance performance, I have to emphasize, I don't mean how good are your accounts in terms of weight. I mean actual, snapshot performance around turnover, profit, cash, how good for your business. By marketing, I mean how good are you at getting customers to buy from you. I don't mean how much do you spend. I don't mean do you have Flash version 9. I don't mean do you send out 25,000 leaflets. I mean how good are you at getting people to buy from you. And operations is how good are you at delivering. So marketing is the promise. Operations is the deliverable. Really interesting. You get people to score themselves out of 10. And typically people will say, oh, finance, I'll give myself 5 or 6. You might like to score yourself as well at the same time. Marketing, they say, oh, marketing's really difficult. I'll come back to marketing in a minute. But the one thing I do know, they say, is operations. Oh, we are like demigods. We are so good at what we do. We're members of all the societies. We've got the latest stuff. We've got the latest material. We're online. We go to the conferences. We are so good at what we deliver. We are so good at being homeopaths, solicitors, plumbers, doctors, dentists, whatever it is. There's everything I know about it. I'm going to give myself a 9. So we've got that sort of mid-range score for finance, 5 or 6. We've got something like a 9 for operations. And you go back to them and say, so what would you score yourself for marketing? And there's always this huge pause, because most people go into business to run a business that they love, to run an operations that they're in love with, but they don't go in it necessarily to do marketing. So, for instance, think back to when you were at school and you were invited to go and see the careers teacher. And the careers teacher said, what is it you want to be when you grow up? And precious few of us actually raise our hands to the sky saying, when I grow up, I want to be a salesperson. Most of us don't actually want to do it. And so most people give themselves a score of something like 3 or 2 for marketing because they think their product should sell itself, etc., etc. The interesting thing is that your financial performance is an average of your marketing and your operations. So if you give a 3 for marketing, a 9 for operations, I can almost guarantee your financial performance will be about a 6. So in a recessionary time, in fact, in any time, if you want to improve your financial performance quickly, look at this little formula. Finance equals marketing plus operations. Finance is an average of marketing and operations. If you want to improve finance, sort out, almost certainly for most of us listening, sort out the marketing. And to sort out the finance, you need to sort out the marketing and the operations. You also need to sort out the financial model. And that little model, FIMO we call it, is an absolute cruncher. Think about the scores you give yourself for financial performance, marketing performance, operations performance, and how you can improve them. I'd now like to offer you some tips and fixes really around finance. I'm not an accountant. You should talk to your accountant if you want the more sort of financial accounting view. I'm coming at this from more of a commercial view. My first job was in Petticoat Lane, so you can see kind of where I come from in terms of what's going on. Some crunch questions for you, which you just need to confront. One, is this business viable in the short run? If you can't make it in the short run, why are you worrying about the long run? 2, is it viable in the long run? Even if you can survive a few months, is the business model going to give you enough money to make it worthwhile? And if it's not, my view is, pack up your bags if you can't make it. I did a lot of work in Cumbria during sort of the mad cow disease times, and loads of people just stuck there, pitifully staying in business, scraping things together when it was inevitable they were going to go bust. Other people went bust straight away and got on with the rest of their lives, and others made the big moves, took the tough decisions. Another question, is it cash you're short of or is it profit you're short of? In recession, I cannot emphasize enough, cash is the real issue. It is called the credit crunch because there is no cash around. So make sure you get the cash up front, early, deposits, and so on and so forth, because without cash your business will suffocate. And be clear about where you make the money, and be clear more about what you're going to do about it. So to be absolutely blunt, what are you going to do about it? I was introduced to an event very recently, and I apologise for my language up front now, and the introducer in front of 250 people said, "So now we're going to have Robert Craven talking to you, and how can we describe Robert Craven's presentation in a nutshell?" And the guy said, "What I think Robert Craven is saying to everyone is, stop pissing around." And although the language is unnecessary on his part, I think actually he kind of conveys the message which I'm trying to put to you, which is it's just about making the tough decisions, getting on and going for it. So I'd like to just pose to you some issues around this finance, around profitability in a non-one-directional communication. We talk about this a lot longer. And this is the question, how do you improve profitability in your business? There's actually 5 options. Option number 1 is you could increase volume, sell more stuff, get up earlier, do more networking, sell, improve the website, make more offers, talk to more people, go to bed later. And that's option number 1. Option number 2 is lower the direct costs. Screw your suppliers into the ground. Always say, is that the best price you can do? Then shut up and wait for them to suddenly discover they can cut the money by a little bit more. Funnily enough, my father was an absolute expert at screwing suppliers into the ground. He used to ask for discounts from everyone, including restaurants, including men's clothes shops, and he'd nearly always get a discount because he asked for it. You don't get it if you don't ask. Number 3, fix the underperformers. We all have underperforming customers, underperforming staff, underperforming suppliers. And now's the time to go back to them and say, I no longer need you. You can go. With respect to staff, ideally you do that legally. But fixing the underperformers is a classic solution. Is that the best way of improving profit? Or you could put up prices and watch the customers go. You could lower prices, get more trade coming in. Or you could lower the overhead, get rid of the fresh coffee and replace it with the Nerdin and Peacock 7-kilogram tins of chicory yucky coffee. Those are your choices. And it's a real question for people to understand what the best thing to do out of those 5. There is a clear way of doing it. There's a clear decision that you can take whether you go up or whether you go down. And this down-up conundrum is really fundamental to you. So let's move to the next slide. Down, do you go down, do you go up? Do you go down, do you go up? Do you go down, do you go